Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure what time everyone's going to be reading, but we are ready to start Chapter 8 of the Lemonade War. I'm going to read you the first part of Chapter 8 for today, and then we will finish Chapter 8 tomorrow. Chapter 8, Going Global. Global, here's the definition. Throughout the world refers to expanding one's market beyond the immediate production area. On Saturday morning, Jessie slept in. And even when she opened her eyes at 9:05, she still felt tired. How can I wake up tired? She wondered, as she buried her face in her pillow and dozed off. 5 minutes later, she was awake for real, remembering why she was so tired. Yesterday's lemonade stand had been the hardest work of her life. Face painting, hair braiding, nail polishing. It had sounded like such a good idea. Jessie had been sure that every kid in the neighborhood would line up to buy a cup of lemonade. But that was the problem. Every kid had lined up for lemonade and then wanted face painting and hair braiding and fingernail polishing and toenail polishing. One boy had asked for face paintings on both cheeks, both arms, and his stomach. One girl begged for lots of little braids with ribbons woven in. And the nail polishing? They all wanted different colors and decals, and it was impossible to get them to sit still long enough for the polish to dry. We're going to run out of lemonade, Megan had said to Jessie at noon, as the line stretched all the way to the street. Pour half cups instead of full ones, whispered Jessie. It has to last. Jessie and Megan had each made $24 on lemonade, but they'd worked 8 hours to do it. At the end of the day, they'd agreed. A good idea, but not worth it. After breakfast, Jessie pulled out her lockbox and sat on her bed. She kept the box hidden in her closet on a shelf under some sweaters. She kept the key in a plastic box in her desk drawer. The plastic box was disguised to look exactly like a pack of gum. You would never know it was hollow and had a secret sliding panel on its side. Jessie unlocked the box and opened the lid. First, she took out 3 torn slips of paper. There was one for value added and one for goodwill. There was also a new one that Jessie had added last night. Profit margin. Sales less all operating costs divided by the number of sales. The result is a ratio. For example, if it costs you $300 to make 100 hats and you sell those hats for $500, the profit margin is 500 minus 300 divided by 100 equals a 2-to-1 ratio, 2/1. Jessie lined up all 3 scraps of paper on the bed beside her. She wasn't sure why she was saving these words, but she felt like they belonged in her lockbox. Next, she took out her lemonade earrings. Every day, Megan had squealed over how much money they'd made. But every day, Jessie had known, it's not enough. It's not going to be enough to win. Jessie counted the money. So far, she had earned $40. It was a lot of money, but it wasn't nearly enough. She still needed to earn $60 more, and today was Saturday. Only 2 more selling days before she and Evan counted their earnings on Sunday night. How was she going to sell enough lemonade to earn $60 in 2 days? She couldn't. That was the problem. No kid could earn $100 in just 5 days by selling lemonade. The profit margin was too small. She knew because she'd used her calculator to figure it out last night. The numbers said it all. There was no way 2 girls in one neighborhood could sell 375 cups of lemonade. Nobody wanted that much lemonade, no matter how hot the day was. Jessie looked at the money in her lockbox and the page of calculations on her desk. Any other kid would have quit, but Jessie was not a quitter. Now, if you look in your book on page 105, you're going to notice there's a diagram explaining Jessie's math on that one so that you know exactly how she figured out how many cups of lemonade she had to sell to get to 375 cups. So back to chapter 8. Jessie wasn't a quitter. On good days, Jessie's mom called her persistent. On bad days, she told her she just didn't know when enough was enough. Jessie reached for 10 bright ideas to light up your sales. It was on her bedside table, right next to Charlotte's Web. Jessie's hand hovered. She looked longingly at Wilbur and Fern watching Charlotte hanging by a thread. But this was war, and she couldn't stop to read for fun. She grabbed the booklet and opened it to bright idea number 6. An hour later, she had a new scrap of paper stashed in her lockbox and a whole new page of calculations on her desk. It might work. It could work. But she and Megan would have to risk everything. Everything they'd earned over the past 3 days. And Jessie would have to be braver than she had ever been in her whole life. Jessie carried her lockbox and calculations downstairs. She went into the kitchen and pulled down the school directory, scanning the names of all the third grade girls from last year. She knew them all, from Evan, from recess, from the lunchroom. She knew who they were, knew their faces, which ones were nice, which ones were not so nice, but she didn't really know any of them. Not enough to call them up, not enough to say, "Want to do something today?" Not enough to ask, "Would you like to have a lemonade stand with me?" These girls were going to be her classmates. Jessie felt her face grow hot and her upper lip start to sweat. What was it going to feel like to walk into the classroom on the first day of school with all those eyes looking at her? Would they stare? Would they tease? Would they ignore her, even if she said hi? Jessie looked at the names and then slammed the directory shut. She couldn't do it. She just wasn't brave enough. Evan walked into the kitchen and grabbed an apple from the fruit bowl. A cloud of fruit flies rose up in the air and settled again. Evan inspected the apple and then bit into it without washing it first. Jessie wanted to say something but held her tongue. She looked at him and thought, "It is never going to feel normal, not talking to Evan." "Hey," she said. Evan raised his apple to her, his mouth too stuffed to talk. "So is Paul coming over today?" she asked. Evan shook his head, munching noisily. "Well, is anyone coming over?" Jessie was curious to see what the enemy was up to today. Yesterday, Evan's smile had told her plenty. He had sold a lot of lemonade. A lot. But what was he going to do today? Evan shrugged his shoulders. He swallowed so hard it looked like he was choking down an ocean liner. "But you are setting up a stand, right?" asked Jessie. "Nah, I'm good," said Evan, looking closely at his apple. "I'm just going to take it easy today." He took another enormous bite and walked out of the kitchen and down the basement stairs. Take it easy? How could he take it easy? You didn't take it easy when you were in the middle of a war. Unless he had already won the war. Could that be possible? It was impossible. There was no way Evan had earned $100 in just 3 days of selling lemonade. No way. Jessie's mind skittered like one of those long-legged birds on the beach. Had he? Could he? Were her calculations wrong? Was there some other way? Had she overlooked some detail, some trick? Was she missing something? Jessie flipped open the school directory. Maybe he had $100. Maybe he didn't. She couldn't take a chance. She started putting pencil check marks next to the names of the girls she thought might work out. She'd gone over the list twice when the doorbell rang. It was Megan. "I've got a new idea," said Jessie. Not more lemonade," said Megan, sinking into the couch on the family room. "I'm tired of selling lemonade, and it's just too hot. I practically had sunstroke yesterday painting all those faces." "We're done with that," said Jessie. "No more extra services. It doesn't pay off. But here's an idea. Forget lemonade. Let's go to the 7-Eleven, said Megan. "Is Evan home? We could all go." "No, he's not home," said Jessie, eyeing the door to the basement. She needed Megan to be on board with her plan. She needed Megan to make the phone calls. "Look, this is great, and we don't need to sell the lemonade." Jessie laid out all the details. She showed Megan the new scrap of paper. Franchise. The right to sell a company's products and use the company's name and logo in a certain area. You will find that new scrap of paper on the bottom of page 110. We will finish chapter 8 tomorrow. So happy reading and have a great day and or night, depending on when you do your reading.